This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning and welcome to Bumper Radio, home of the gonculator pump and the twin chrome connuter valve and the anti-flow viscosity modulator. I can't even say that. Impressive. Welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we're here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you got car questions, we've got answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us, as long as you're not driving, at 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, oil consumption, what you need to know about keeping oil in your car, open phones and texts, and planning for your road trip. Matt, it's the time of year where I see the freeways littered with rubber and tires, and we're also getting cars towed in all the way from Blythe. You know, people are headed to California or coming back to California, and I've got cars in my parking lot with surfboards on them and stand-up paddle boards and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, it's bad enough that we have to get these cars towed in, but don't you hate when you get the car that was towed in and you're unloading all the luggage and all the stuff out of the trunk to maybe get access for a fuel pump or something like that? But you're right, Dave. I mean, with the temperatures, we've had some hot temperatures. I mean, really high, right? And then we had some really mild stuff. I mean, what was it, the beginning of June? Where were we living? Like Denver? It was
pretty nice.
I think we had a day where Anchorage, Alaska was hotter than Phoenix, and that was June. Seriously. So, yeah, coming up to 51 every day. I see tires on the road. It hasn't been as bad as it has been in prior years. I've been driving back and forth to Tucson a little bit. My wife's been working down there, so we've been making some trips. And I see stuff on I-10. Haven't seen too many broken down cars, but tires are the ones that are going to kill you.
Right.
Potentially.
It's common, but I like to think that these breakdowns, whatever they may be, could be avoided if the vehicles were in the shop on a regular basis. And not in the shop necessarily getting anything repaired. But to your point is that, you know, if these cars go in, you know, people are going to go on a road trip. If your car's in the shop every 3,000 to 5,000 miles and you have a good relationship with the shop, if you want to jump in your car tomorrow and take it for a drive cross country, probably chances are you're going to be okay if it's fairly a newer vehicle. But if it's one of those, I get the phone calls, hey, I'm headed out of town tomorrow. I need an oil change in my car. And it's a car that's been totally neglected. Bad idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, an oil change is not going to make or break your road trip. And you're right, Dave. We were talking about that before the show because I jumped in my wife's car and we drive down. You know, it's, what is it, 125 miles, 250-mile round trip. Heck, some people might drive around town and drive that many miles in 2 or 3 days. But the point is, not that the car is more likely to break down because you're on a road trip. The car doesn't know any better. It's just you're far away from home and you're going to maybe have it loaded down some more and you're in different conditions. But what I was saying is I thought, gee, I didn't even check my car out. It's got 92,000 miles on it or something like that. But then as I'm thinking, why would I need to check it out? I have religiously that car is in the shop every 5,000 miles. I know my guys are taking care of it just like they would take care of a customer's car. So to your point, if you're taking care of it, you can probably just get in and go, or at least maybe call your shop. Hey, do I need to come in and check anything? Maybe I would always encourage our customers, if you don't need something, still pop in anytime. We want to at least maybe check your battery, check your fluid levels, look at the tires, make sure there's no nails in them or anything like that. Because again, if we've been taking care of you, we know the history of the car. It's those of you who are the shop orphan, or the people who don't want to know what they're going to hear when they take the car to the shop, maybe you're better off getting a rental car.
If you're the customer, we only see when something breaks. That happens. The car's been great up until now.
And that's eventually
eventually it does break.
Hey, yeah. When was the last time you had one of those, Dave? How could it need that? I've had this car 150,000 miles for 10 years. I've never had to do anything, and now you're telling me it needs $1,000 repair? How could that be?
They eventually break at some point. So that's a very common comment that I hear.
Yeah,
it's been fine up until now. I know, but at some point they.
I mean, I can understand because I've probably made a comment like that with like I don't know, you name it, a VCR or a bicycle. God, I've had this thing forever, and it just, I don't know. But that's that statement that should be kind of like, duh.
A VCR? Kids today hardly even know what a VCR is.
I was talking with Ludwig the other day. He had to do something online for his soccer registration. They want a text number, but they need to know the carrier. So he says, well, it says Verizon something or other, and it says Verizon pager. Which one? So in my teaching moment, I'm like, okay, Ludwig, we've got
Pager.
We don't have a pager, right? He's like, well, I don't know. What's a pager? 14-year-old. He doesn't know what it is. Yeah.
Hey, fix the tracking on that. The picture's not good.
Yeah, right. I don't know how we got off track there, Dave. Who knows?
But either way, what
Pagers?
What are the things? I mean, if you got a car with 90,000 miles or less and it goes in the shop, regularly, maybe 3-4 times a year, and you've got a shop that's looking after your car, chances are you can jump in it tomorrow and head to California.
Yeah.
But if it's a car, as a car gets older in its lifespan, we start looking at it harder. We say, the car's got 140,000 miles on it now. You actually may want to increase your visits to the shop as cars get older to prevent breakdowns. If you're one of those people that doesn't care if you break down, don't worry about it.
Yeah, brand new cars aren't blowing hoses.
But
3 or 4-year-old cars aren't blowing hoses. 10 and 12-year-old cars, what you're saying is you put a different set of eyes. You look through a different set of optic on a 120,000 mile car than you do a 40,000 mile car.
And also, if you got a car with 150,000 miles, you start to treat that, maybe that's a local car. Maybe you got 2 cars in your family. You got the new car, that's a road trip car, and you maybe got the local car. And at the same time, you said renting a car. It's actually not that bad. I'm going to go to, California, and I've thought about renting a car, and a lot of times I do. I want to take my bicycles this time, so I can't rent a car. But it's not a bad idea if you're kind of like on, I don't know if the car's good for it.
Well, but
it's not that expensive.
But you know what? You're going on vacation. Maybe you're going to stay in a little night. You're going to treat yourself, right? And maybe you're driving around the 92 Caravan right now, or maybe you're driving around this other car and it's got all your work stuff in it and you use it and you got to clean all this stuff out and whatever. So maybe as part of the vacation to yourself, stay in the nicer hotel. Go to the nicer restaurants, get yourself a nice rental car. Why? Maybe you've got a smaller car. Maybe you commute a lot and you have your Civic, but you've got a family. And you go get the full size. Go rent the Camry or go get the Suburban. It's got some extra room.
Build it into your budget.
Yeah.
I've seen vacations get ruined because when these cars show up and they've got the surfboards on the roof and all that stuff, and how's your vacation going? Well, apparently not so good because I'm down here at Tri-City Transmission when I'm supposed to be on the beach.
Yeah.
And everyone I know goes on vacations in California. That's just what we do in this town.
But the easy things, the stuff for the consumer, even on your 40,000 mile car. Maybe you want to just do a couple quick things for your walk around. Check the oil. We'll explain to you that, coming up a little bit later in the show about the cars, these new cars that are burning oil. So in your brand new car, you really should be checking the oil, and don't think because it's new, it's not burning oil. Check your tire pressures. Look at, in that you got to use the information on the sticker of the door to set the right pressure. Look for nails and bulges and stuff in the tire. Walk around. You can have your kids help you make sure your headlights and your taillights and brakes and signals are all working. Make sure your windshield washer.
One thing about the tires that I notice is that you can see if you're looking at I've called customers and say, hey, your tires are bald. Oh, they look great. No, they're bald on the inside edge. So when you're looking at your tires, you want a good, even tread all the way across. So actually, if it's a front tire, take the wheels and turn it all the way left. So you can see the whole tire versus the outside edge look great.
Yeah, and maybe put a coaster on the ground and check, drop a knee down and look at the back tires and see what they look like. Because the tires, a burned out light, no big deal. Oh, my windshield wipers don't work very good. Tire,
bigger deal,
big problem.
Not only that, you got to unload the whole trunk to get to the tire.
Yeah. Speaking of which, take all the junk from your trunk and check your spare tire. When I used to have the towing company, how many times we have people on the side of the freeway do all this stuff, get all this garbage out of the trunk and move everything around and go mount this spare tire. It's flat. Not good. And then the battery. I was driving. I've been going back and forth to Tucson a little bit. And last night my wife and I are driving home. We stop at the gas station, Picacho Peak, or I think it's Casa Grande, right there where the 8 interchange is. Pull into the Pilot. It's fairly busy, and I'm like, come on, dude. Let's go. I'm on a road trip. When I'm on the road, there's no stopping to pee.
Right.
There's not. I mean, that's it. It's
the only time he's ever on time. He's usually late, but sometimes he's motivated.
We
to be on
are.
time.
But it's a road trip. When I'm on the road, I'm ready to go. So I'm like, come on, man. I just need a little bit of sip of gas to make it home. What's going on? And people are sitting there. I'm like, what do you have, a 100-gallon tank? And then the hood goes up, and I'm, so I want to help them. It's a older couple and it looks like maybe grandkids or whatever. What do they have? A dead battery. I mean, I know one thing. It wasn't an interstate battery, but besides the tires, the battery is really going to ruin the trip.
It's the most common breakdown,
Yeah.
I think. It's the most common trip. The tow truck shows up, and taking care of that is the battery. And batteries don't last forever. I know there's marketing in the battery business, and they put these long warranties on it, and that's great. But, if you got a battery that's over 3 years old, maybe it's time to go trade it out with an interstate battery. I mean, that's what we use.
Yeah, all the shops. I don't say this with 100% certainty, but I can say it with some high degrees. All the bumper-to-bumper shops, all the shops you find at bumpertobumperradio.com, they will do a free battery test for you. Hey, I'm your customer. I'm going out of town. Can I come in and get a free battery test? Absolutely. We'll do that for you. All of them will. And if you want interstate battery, interstatebattery.com. And if you've got one in your car, that's the other beauty. Those things are nationwide warranty.
So if you're on the road trip and you do have a problem, you can get it taken care of. Well, when we come back, we've got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923 or listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
You're listening to Matt Allen and Dave Riccio, and we are your KTAR car guys, heard right here on Bumper to Bumper Radio every Saturday morning at 11. We've been talking this morning, Dave, about getting your car ready for the road trip or just going out on the road, and it's something that we need to do. Sometimes the newer cars, you don't need as much attention. If you've got an older one, maybe rent the car. And don't worry about breaking down. Just it's another peace of mind. And like I was saying earlier, just treat yourself.
And then don't go to the shop the day before.
Yeah.
The day before you head out of town. Hey, I'm here.
I'll tell you about a job
tomorrow.
I'll tell you about a job that I'm very nervous about right now. But one of the other things that we're here to do for all the regular listeners, call us. If you have a question about your car, anything, you're going on a trip, maybe you want to buy a new car, not sure what to rent or whatever, some kind of car question, we are a resource for you. And so you can call us today at 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And for the shy types, you can text us at 411-923. And Dave, speaking of one of those texts, we're talking about fixing tires and lights and having the car ready for you so you don't break down. But there's a text that came in that makes us think about everybody else that we have to share the road with. And this guy sends in, he's got a Mazda, and he hit a piece of tire that come off of somebody else's car, or in that case, I think it was probably a truck tire. It looked like a retread, he said. Ripped out the oil pan and body damage. Probably did a couple $1,000s of the damage to the poor guy's car.
All the time. I feel like I'm dodging. Sometimes I put the tire, I'll drive over it. So it's between my car. Sometimes I avoid it this way or that way.
I did just that, yes.
But if you got a low clearance vehicle, it'll rip the air dam off the front of the thing.
Yeah, that little valance. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen underneath the car running things over. And that's another thing to be cautious of is the debris on the road.
Well, we got some phone calls starting to trickle in. We're going to go with Rick in Phoenix. He's got a 2006 Chrysler PT Cruiser. Hey, Rick, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can we do for you today?
Hi, guys. First-time caller. And I've got quite a few, actually, several issues with this car. But there's a couple of mysteries that are bothering me. Number one, it's always hard starting. And at one time, it was giving a code for the idle air control motor, and I've replaced that, but it's still hard starting. I have to turn the key at least 2 to 3 times if it's been sitting for more than a couple of hours. If it's been run within a couple hours, then I can start it right up on the first try. That's one issue. Another issue is it seems to, as soon as I start it, within the first maybe 30 seconds at most after I start it, I hear a loud thumping noise, a kind of a clunk noise that's coming from under the car. And I honestly I can't tell you at this point whether it's only when it's in gear, or I think it happens sometimes before I even put the car in gear.
Okay, how many miles are in this car?
110,000.
110, and then that noise that it makes, does that noise seem to be consistent with the rotational speed of the engine?
No, it comes from somewhere under the floorboard, and I haven't been able to tell. Sometimes I think it's coming from behind me, but sometimes I think it's coming from in front of me, and I haven't been able to locate it yet. And I've tried having my wife start the car and listen from outside the car, and try to put my head down underneath where I can, listen a little bit more to try to locate it. And I still haven't been able to locate it yet.
Okay. Well, the noises are tough, Dave. I know. I mean, we've fixed the wrong noises on cars. We hear a noise and we fix that one, and it's a different one. So.
Oh, that's been there since I bought the car. I wasn't worried about
I didn't
that.
care about that noise. It was the other noise. So the noise will be tough. You're going to have to get with your shop or get with somebody. It sounds like you do some of the work yourself. Throwing a code for an idle air control motor. Well, that's the myth about having a code in the car. The code is going to tell somebody the area of the problem, and you really have to read that code. It might say idle air control motor circuit, and that's talking about the wiring, not the motor. It might say idle air control motor something else. Make up what I don't know,
voltage
high or voltage low or feedback or who knows. So and it may throw that code because it doesn't see the RPMs that it wants to idle at. That doesn't mean you have a bad idle air control motor. So we have to go through the test. And what is the idle air control motor? It used to be on a car with a choke. There was mechanical linkage, and on the carburetor, the idle would adjust. There was a stepper motor or something in there to keep the linkage from closing. Well, on a car now, you don't have to open the throttle necessarily. You have to control or have a controlled orifice or air bleed, and that's what that idle air control motor. Depending on how much that opens and closes, that's going to determine the idle of the car.
Well, I mean, I was thinking too, and that may not, I mean, he had a code for an idle motor, and that may have been one problem, but that may have not necessarily been his long crank problem, because I'm thinking maybe we got a fuel pump problem over there on that end. So just because you got a code in the car doesn't mean it fits your problem. That could be a code for something else that's going on that maybe you're not even aware of, but it's not your problem.
Well, and your idle air control motor code could have set as a consequence of the problem that doesn't necessarily set a code. So again, don't kill the messenger. And Carrie's over here going, I don't understand any of this, but it's
the complex realities of how to repair.
Yeah, it can be crazy at times.
Low
fuel pressure.
The clunking. I was thinking of some things like motor mounts. When this thing's starting up and clunking on the floorboard. That's one thing I see on those PT PT Cruisers as bad motor mounts. So thanks for the call, Rick. 602-277-5827. We are going to go with William in Mesa on a 2015 Jeep Patriot. How can we help you, William? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks for taking my call. The question I have is, I have a brand new vehicle, less than 3,000 miles on it, and it seems like every morning or every time I leave a parking space, when I put it in reverse, I'm getting what sounds like a brake squeal when I back up, but there's never a repeat of it any other time, so it made me lead to believe it's not brakes. I've checked like the rotors in the back, making sure that there's not brake dust, stuff like that. What would cause something that's relatively new to have that high-pitched squeal just in reverse?
It happens. It's nothing I would be particularly concerned about on the car. I'm sure the brakes are just fine. There's just cars that have brake problems. I mean, the brakes are cold. That's the thing. Brakes like heat. They don't want too much heat. You get heat in the brake pads, you get heat in the rotors, and that's when they work their best. And really, that noise is really nothing more than a vibration. It's just a slight vibration when you're backing up, and it's nothing really to worry about. I wouldn't worry about it at all. I know my car does it at times.
I think you just not back up. Just park where you can pull through the spot, it just totally eliminates
Or
it.
the other thing, is when you back out, instead of applying the brakes, just drop it right into drive and just forget that whole brake application, and then that way you'll need a transmission sooner. No. Don't worry about it. That's the bottom line. I wouldn't worry about it. Maybe mention it to them. Go back in for your next oil change or your first oil change at the dealer and have them take a look at it and say, hey, the brakes squeak.
Over the decades, though, would you notice that brake squeaks have gotten less and less and less? I mean, we went back to the Centrix plant, and they showed us how everything that goes into dynoing these brake pads and making them so they don't squeak. And it's amazing what goes into it. And they have different grades of pads. Oh, these pads over here for police cars. This one's not a police car, so this is a comfortable, grandma pad.
Well, or even how you might match pads and rotors. And this 2015 Jeep or Chrysler product is set up properly coming out of the factory and everything. And quite honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. But that is one of those ones. You imagine pulling up, and it's happened to all of us probably, pulling up to valet or wherever you are. This horrible squeak. Everybody knows you're coming. So,
well, I think next time he's into the dealership, he just bought the car. I think he should have the service writer get in the car with him and show him the squeak.
But it only does it first thing in the morning. I bet that's not the first time they've heard that complaint. So we've got Eric, Jess, and Carol coming up next. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys. We'll be right back.
Do you love your hybrid? Yep, we did too. Hi, my name is Brian. We bought our Prius to help with my wife's long commute back and forth to work. We love the get up and go and the fuel economy. But 8 years later, our MPG was eroding and the zip was gone. We tried everything from tune-ups to new tires. The dealership's answer was that's just the way it goes with hybrids, and that we were probably looking at a new battery at the cost of $4,000 to $6,000. Sound familiar? We were lost. Then we found the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair. They were able to condition our battery to like new for a fraction of the cost. The Zip and the 40 Plus MPG is back. We're in love again with our Prius and the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair.
Thanks for the kind words, Brian. Hi, Glenn Hayward for the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair. Fall in love again with your hybrid. For details, go to goodworksautorepair.com.
The Lodge at Ventana Canyon is Tucson's premier golf, stay and play experience. Nestled in the foothills of Tucson's Santa Catalina Mountains is the award-winning Lodge at Ventana Canyon. We invite you to join us this summer and enjoy our unlimited golf stay and play packages starting at just $99 per person based on double occupancy. Enjoy the all-suite boutique 50-room facility with country club amenities which include 2 Tom Fazio designed golf courses, the Mountain and the Canyon, state-of-the-art fitness center, day spa, 10 lighted tennis courts, locker rooms with sauna, steam room, and jacuzzi, heated outdoor Junior Olympic-sized pool, as well as the new resort pool, which will complete construction this October. For more information about the Summer Unlimited Golf Package or other specials available, please visit our website at thelodgeatventanacanyon.com today. The Lodge at Ventana Canyon, your cool getaway this summer.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Welcome back to Bumper to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen along with Dave Riccio, and we are here, as always, every Saturday helping you with your car. And car repair, car problem, body shop. That's another thing we have in the Bumper to Bumper Radio Network is some body shops. And, there's a couple kind of people, those who've been to the body shop and those who will be going to the body shop. So the way the drivers are in Phoenix, you're going to have an accident someday. So, and your car's going to break down.
I'm knocking on wood as you say that. I'm not having an accident. Not happening to me.
You're going to get clobbered outside the parking lot there, Dave. So if you want to call us, though, please feel free. 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And if you'd like to text, you can do that at 411-923. Dave's chomping at the bit. What are you thinking, Dave?
Sure. No, I'm just thinking
You're
that
anxious,
Carol
man.
here. She wants to get on. So up first this segment, we're going to go with Carol from Scottsdale on a 2000 Suburban. Carol, what's going on with your Suburban?
Hi. Well, I take pretty good care of it, and I've been having this funny thing happen to me. I slow down to turn a corner, and it just kills. And so the brakes work. I stop. The steering wheel, things start not working now, and it starts almost right away again. And it only does this like every couple of weeks, and it does it when it's warmed up. And I can't figure out what it is.
Now,
regardless of what you had for dinner the night before.
Okay, Carol, that was Dave, by the way, so you blame him for that. No, but on you say you take pretty good care of it, so I'm going to assume we don't have check engine lights on. There's not things that you've been told to fix that you haven't done, and the car's generally in good shape, and this is a mystery.
Well, it's old because it's got 231,000 miles on it. But I get my oil changed regularly, and I get all the fluids and hoses checked regularly. I go to Discount Tire, and they do my tires, every time I do all that.
Good, okay.
I'm a widow, but my husband was a real car guy, so I know I have to take care of it, and I take pretty good care of it. And I know I'm going to have to get another car one of these days, but I'm kind of attached to it because it was the last car he bought me. So
right, well, you're living clean. I mean, look at that, 200 and some odd thousand miles out of a 2000, 15-year-old Suburban, so you're doing something right. Dave, I'm thinking as far as that stalling problem, she's slowing down maybe to turn into the parking lot or leaving the driveway or something. The last gentleman talked about an idle air control motor. On this, I don't know in that 2000 range if it's got the electronic throttle or if this one has an idle air control motor. But what happens, either way, there's a certain amount of air that has to enter the engine, and that goes past either the throttle body or it goes past an idle air control motor circuit. And that idle air control motor has to open up, allow a bigger hole, basically, more air into the engine. It's going to make it idle higher. That motor has to move and open and close. That thing's constantly going. I mean, thousands and thousands of times a minute that little motor's been giving commands. And over time, you get carbon buildup and soot and garbage in the engine, and that can gum up that motor, and it doesn't allow it to react very fast. So that would be one of the areas I would be looking at is the throttle body or the idle air control motor in the absence of any codes or any other faults.
Well, thanks for the call, Carol, 602-277-5827. And I got this text in from Lou. He's got a 2007 Cadillac DTS. Timing chain tensioner is going bad. Shop says 24 hours of labor. And he's getting a quote for the job of $1,500 to $2,000. Does this price sound reasonable?
Well, what he said, the dealer said 25 hours, and then then he went to get a price from somewhere else. So, but back to the point, was it 25 hours of labor, $1,500 to $2,000 to do the whole job? Well, if labor is $100 an hour, the job should be at least $2,500. So the math may not be, that may be too good. That may honestly be too cheap. And I know people are going,
too cheap,
$2,000 to fix my car. You're saying that's
there goes your big screen TV.
I mean, I understand it's a lot of money, but when you have that, if there's that big of a price difference, I mean, I can understand 10, 12%. We're going to have swings, but You know, Dave, you've seen the people on bad reviews. They told me $1,000 and I went ahead and fixed for $200. There's not that big of a spread in the repair. So whoever got that $200 where someone else is talking about that, it's a different thing.
Sometimes there is that big of a spread if it's a different repair. Like I may have a customer come in and they need, one fuel injector on a 4-cylinder. Well, it's one of those that they're going to fail and they're going to have annoyance trips back. So you can get one fuel injector for $400 per se. But we can do them all right now. We're going to save some labor. Rather than doing these a la carte one at a time, we can do it for $900, and we're all done with the fuel injector problems with this car. So we can do either way. So I say $900, they go to the next shop, and they get it done for the $300.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, right, yeah.
And they're like, they were charging way too much money. It's two different things altogether, so it's not the whole story.
Well, and I always say one that I recently had a one with, and I think our listeners might run into this: radiators. This was the time of year for radiator. So I call the customer and I say, the radiator's tank blew out. The car's got 117,000 miles on it or whatever it was, and it's 10 years old. So when we do the radiator, we'd like to do the upper and lower radiator hose, put a new thermostat in it, and a radiator cap. And you give them that price. Well, all they hear is radiator, and then they call the shop down the street or whoever, and they say, I need a price on a radiator. Oh, yeah. And they get a price on a radiator, and then they think you're $300 higher than the other shop. So one of the things that we talk about when you're getting your estimate from the shop is asking what else is included in that repair. What are you doing? And understand what they're doing, so if you do want to shop, you're shopping for the right thing.
I got a text here, and I'm only mentioning this one because this just happened in my shop this week. Can you talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the K&N air filter? And I had a car this week, all kinds of weird problems and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it was a mass airflow sensor and a K&N filter. I'm just not a big fan of taking a beautiful car and that's been through the R&D over there at General Motors. Not like they know what they're doing over there, but I mean they do. They've put together an air filter box and an air filter, and it's all engineered in there. And the first thing we do is unbolt that air box and throw it away and put this K&N filter on. I'm just not a fan.
Well, I don't mind it because I think a lot of the engineering that goes into that, part of that is the runnability and the drivability of the engine. Part of it is for noise, and they don't want to hear the air sucking into the engine. So
there's all kinds of stuff into it, but
you might give up some of that. But I forget the question again. If you're not diligent about taking care of it, you can't just throw it in there and forget about it. And you can't have your 14-year-old kid get a gallon of oil out and put it all over it either, because it's not the air filter. It's the lack of maintenance or the improper maintenance of that air filter that causes the weird problem. But for the most part, Dave, I'm in agreement with you. Just leave it alone. Put a new air filter in every 15,000 miles, and you'll be fine.
All right. Well, thanks for the text. We are going to go with Eric in Queen Creek on a 2005 Lincoln Navigator. Hey, Eric, you're on Bumper to Bumper. What's going on with your Navigator?
Thanks for taking my call. So I'm going to combine two of your previous callers that are already out when I called. The first thing is it only makes this noise on a cold start, and it's a slight rattle. At first I thought it was like one of the plates from covering the muffler or the Cadillac converter. I banged around them. They're not making any noise. I was finally able to hear it. It sounds like it's coming from the top left side of the engine. And it's only on a cold start, and it lasts for all of maybe a second and a half.
I think what we're going to find on that one, Eric, is there's probably an oiling-related issue. I'm going to be thinking, I don't know exactly the engine. And
5.4
it's
probably.
That 5.4, and it's got cam phasers. It's got variable valve timing. There's all kinds of funky electronics and actually mechanical items that are controlled by weird electronics to help with the performance of the vehicle. So you've probably got maybe a timing chain tensioner, a cam phaser that's making some noise. It's hard. Noises. I mean, over the phone, on the air, over the radio, we just throw a bunch of cards in the air and pick one.
It's funny, though, when you work on cars day in and day out, you hear things and I'll jump in a car with a customer and go for a road test. They go, you hear that? Yeah, I guess it's a heat shield on the muffler. We know what a lot of these sounds are. So if we can hear them, we know what it is, and usually if a customer can, they can imitate the noise at the counter really well.
I think that should be a requirement of the show. If you have a noise problem,
you're going to have to make it.
You have to make the noise. So, we mentioned earlier, maybe on your road trip, you really don't need to check your oil on your new car. Oh, you got a new car, just jump in it and go. But I think we've got some contrary information. And what is this, a report from Consumer Reports, Dave?
Yeah, from Consumer Reports. And Joel gave this to me, and he thought it was a great, Joel from Arizona Imports, he thought it was a great show topic, and you showed up with the same one. So
Like mines, huh?
Like mines. But this is interesting, and it's talking about the oil consumption of brand new vehicles. And the thing in here, this is crazy, is that BMW says that in 700 miles, losing a quart of oil is normal. I don't believe that.
That's BS, and I think everybody knows what that stands for. I mean, it just...
Big stuff.
I don't know what. Yeah, big stuff. BMW is one of them. Volkswagens nowadays. We work on a ton of those at my shop. They're low on oil. These cars are using oil in between. Chevrolet had a problem. Carol in Scottsdale had that 2000 Suburban. We saw tons of those burning oil, and GM made some fixes for them. It's happening in new cars, so you do need to check your oil, and that's the problem with these 10,000, 8,000,
5 to 10,000 miles before a fresh dose. They're recommending a 10,000 mile. Wow, 10,000 mile oil change interval is absolutely crazy, and so they're, we've talked about it. Is that marketing? Is that really what they want to do? Make the thing look like it doesn't use any oil. But if you had to add a quart of oil a month,
and you're driving
for 10,000 miles, you might as well have changed the oil.
Yeah, right?
Really?
It's true. I would be screaming furious mad if I had a new BMW and I was having to pull over every 700 miles to put a $15 quart of synthetic
it's not
oil.
The cheap stuff.
But then again, you got the Subaru Forester on the list here. There was a Toyota there. So got to check your fluids. And I think, and then the next part to make this worse, Dave, is if there's some kind of flaw that's causing this in the low mileage, then people neglect, or even you neglect actually by virtue of not following, by following their repair or oil change procedures or process in time, and it just compounds the problem, makes it worse. So
well, going back to Eric, I think it was Eric's phone call with the oil. You said noises, like there's all kinds of variable valve timing and phasers and stuff that sounds really expensive to me, but you don't want to avoid or spread out those oil changes. Be religious about it. I know everyone said, you can go longer and longer because stuff's getting better. But actually, we're adding technologies that need cleaner oil, and we've made oil passages a lot smaller. So really, I do a 5,000-mile oil change on my car, and I use synthetic oil.
Same with me.
That's how I do it.
Same thing.
Don't need to go 10,000 miles.
No, don't do it. Keep the oil change. It's cheap insurance. So you're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys. We'll be right back.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Are you looking for a refreshing change in customer service? I'm Lee Weatherby from Accurate Automotive. How about a refreshing change in your car repair relationship with honest, clear, and responsive service that looks out for your needs and not ours? For over 20 years, we've been delivering award-winning service provided by ASE certified technicians with one goal, looking out for your best interest. If it needs fixing, we'll tell you. If it doesn't, you'll know that too. I guarantee that you will not get that business-as-usual treatment at Accurate Automotive. Foreign and domestic, cars, trucks, and even fleet service, Accurate can handle your job. I invite you to come in and experience a refreshing difference in car repair and maintenance. Stop by for a free courtesy inspection, a $49 value. We feel it is well worth our investment in you because we know that good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. I'm Lee Weatherby, and I'll be there to greet you. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robeson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Ready to improve your game? Hi, I'm Greg McLean.
And I'm Brandon Harris. We created Premier Fitness Systems, a completely unique training and golf performance center in Scottsdale with a focus on strength, flexibility, posture, alignment, and body position.
Having achieved great success with professional golfers and teaching pros, we're now offering you a challenge to improve your game with a free TPI golf screening and 2 golf performance training sessions. For our offer and testimonials, go to PremierFitnessSystems.com.
Improve your game, improve your life, Premier Fitness Systems.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
I feel like I'm at the concert or something, Dave. I mean, Bree's got the tunes jamming over there. I feel like I should be throwing back a beer or something. Well, you are listening to some Van Halen and Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio. We've been talking about getting ready for the road trip. Get your tires checked, check the lights. Just if you normally take care of your car, good. You're probably going to be in good shape. If not, stop in the shop, have them check your battery. We'd be happy to check your tire pressures for you anytime. We want to see you. When you come to our shops, we want to see you happy to be there, not mad because your vacation just got ruined. And if you missed a little bit of what we were talking about in the last segment, cars burning oil. Consumer Reports, there's this, and I've been seeing this. I haven't seen it in writing before. You hear a lot of this urban myth, but it's been confirmed even from what we see in our shop. These new cars are burning oil. So you're rolling around in a new Beamer, head check. If you went 700 miles, you might want to check your oil. And oh, by the way, there's no dipstick anymore, Dave. How are you supposed to do that?
Ridiculous.
It is crazy.
But we're always talking about how stuff changes in the auto business, and things that we used to know to be true are just not true anymore. And so information that you got from your granddad, it doesn't necessarily work anymore in your car because it's totally different. I mean, there's all kinds of different...
This is a new non-caloric silicone-based kitchen lubricant.
I mean, you got to check your kitchen lubricant.
Yeah, depends what you're doing in the kitchen, Dave.
For sure. Well, we got 4 phone calls and not a lot of time, so we better get to it. Let's go to Ellie. Looks like she's got a 2007 Acura SPX. How can we help you? Hey, Ellie, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Eli.
Eli. All right.
It's okay. I was like, oh, she must have a nice car like my daughter's. Yeah, I just got my daughter 07 STX, and I just got it from the dealer, and it's got about 90,000 miles. Everything's working perfect. She loves the car. We love the car. I try to take it from her whenever I can. But anyway, I'll just call to ask, see what you recommend as in, like a service, like does it have a timing belt, timing chain? Should I?
Do you know what engine that car has in it?
It's 2.4.
2.4 liter, so that's the 4-cylinder. Okay, so you asked about oil changes, regular maintenance, and what were?
Yeah, because it's had that. I checked the Carfax, but never anything like transmission. I don't know if I should mess with the transmission fluid and stuff like that.
Is it automatic or manual?
It actually has got both, and I know you guys are not a big fan of like, complicated stuff, but it's got it. But everything's working fine. It shifts perfect. It's like I said, it's got 90,000. But yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get us wrong. We like complicated stuff.
Yeah,
we like
gives us jobs.
We like the technology. I mean, I have all the bells and whistles. But Eli, I think what you need to do. You bought the car from the dealer. It's in good shape. If you have a relationship with a shop, you want to take this car to that shop and say, guys, I just bought this car for my daughter. I'd like you to give me the whole bumper-to-bumper check over, head to toe. That's something you should be willing to pay for, and the shop should be wanting to charge you. Because if it's free,
it's worth what you paid for.
Yeah, nobody. I shouldn't say nobody, but people that work for. I can't ever find anybody to work for free, Dave. I've had an ad running. Come in, work for free, and nobody will answer the ad. So people don't like to work for free. But the point is, get the car inspected, have a thorough job, tell them to nitpick this car. You want to know everything. Hurt my feelings, please. Tell me everything, and then make a list for me. We hear us talk about the list. There's nothing wrong with the list. We got to know. We need to know what we need to know.
Well, Eli, you should let your daughter become a part of that process also, because when you got to turn it over to her and she's going to be taking the car to shop and that type of thing, she knows what's going on and nothing sounds foreign to her. And I've been there, done that, won that T-shirt. There's so much anxiety that goes around to taking your car to the shop. Let her be a part of that process. So.
And if you don't have that shop, bumper-to-bumper-radio.com, and then we're here for you every Saturday.
Hey, let's get to Jess in Phoenix on a 2003 Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive. How can we help you, Jess?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I've been using this thing a lot for camping, and a buddy of mine's got a 2,000-watt converter, and I'm looking at putting a second battery in it. Do I need to beef up the alternator or not?
No. Don't think so. No, I wouldn't think so. Now, if you're going to put a separate battery in it, for camping and having the extra load and stuff, and having some reserve, you might want to go with an absorbed glass mat battery. Go with a little bit better of a battery, and then someday, if the alternator goes out on the car, which it might, it's a Toyota, they're pretty darn good. The alternator might go out, and sometimes there's an option that you could get the 105 amp or maybe the 130 amp alternator, and we're looking up parts in the catalog. Sometimes they won't interchange. They're two different beasts, if you will. And sometimes it's just the internal. The external, the mounting, everything is fine, and there's nothing wrong with possibly upgrading it then. But I wouldn't go out of my way to do it.
That's one of those trucks where there's so many of them on the road that there's also a lot of aftermarket options for the real gearheads that want to bigger is better.
Sometimes. Well, and the stereo shop guys. So if you wanted to have one beefed up, but I just don't think you need to do it. Get some good quality batteries. Go to interstatebattery.com and find someone and get a couple of their absorbed glass mat batteries.
Well, let's get in Tim in Tempe on a 2007 Chevy Tahoe. How can we help you, Tim?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Appreciate the show. I've got a little bit of a mystery. I've got a 5.3-liter V8. I love that power plant. I've had several of them go over 200,000 miles and over the years. I'm just a big fan of that power plant. Got one now that upon slowing down or deceleration, with or without braking, I get down to about 23 or 24 miles an hour, and it starts to shudder. I'm getting a shuddering in the engine/drivetrain.
Dave, that white Suburban.
I was reading text. We had a white one that really gave us problems.
Yeah, the one at Tri-City Transmission. You came over by my shop. We left Virginia Auto Service. We're going up and down Osborne. We're causing all kinds of traffic jams, trying to find out what the problem was with the Suburban. It was the same kind of thing. Here, right. And so you're slowing down. Maybe you're like 40 miles an hour, 35 in traffic, and you let off the gas. You're not touching the brake. And as you go into like that 28, maybe 32 to 25 miles an hour, it's just a little bit of a shake.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Dave
exactly
is going to have to. Here's the problem, though. It's going to cost you a lot of money for this answer because this one cost Dave a lot of days and time on the phone.
And that engine, for fuel economy, they cancel cylinders once you get up to a nice, cruise, and we don't need all 8 cylinders running full bore. And so what's happening at that speed is we're going from having 4 cylinders turned off to turning 4 cylinders back on, and it created, in this particular case, a weird vibration. And we just finally caught it looking at the data in the scanner and watching, hey, it happens at the same time we see those cylinders come back to life. And so what ended up fixing that thing was just simply redoing the software, and problem fixed.
So it was a flash update. So Tim, that may have just saved you a couple $100 of diagnosis. Is when you go to the shop, ask them or take it to Dave, maybe Tri-City Transmission. You can do that reflash and make sure that you don't have a driveline problem or a transmission problem or anything else. But man, that sure sounded like that Suburban. So once again, another chapter of Bumper to Bumper Radio in the books. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and you have a safe vacation if you decide to go on a road trip. And don't forget the car to get the car in and have it looked at. And stay tuned. You got Get Outdoors coming up with Mike Russell next. I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio, and we will see you next week.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Bunker to Bunker, the golf show's famous two-person scramble tour continues with our next stop on Saturday, July 18th at the spectacular Ambiente Golf Course at the Camelback Golf Club and the luxurious JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa, benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Phoenix. The tournament includes golf, lunch, awards, a raffle, and even a bounce-back coupon for a member rate of golf. All for just $84, and check out the hotel rates starting at $99 per night. Space is limited. Register today. Go to bunkergolf.com for details.
For the best advice, products, and partners for your car, join Matt and Dave, the Car Guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio every Saturday 11 to noon on KTAR News, 92.3 FM.
Don't be an auto repair orphan. Let us help. We'll find out what's wrong and take the mystery out of what's going on underneath your hood.
Drive in anxious, cruise out feeling fine with Bumper to Bumper Radio and